Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firm But Fair Gaming, bringing you another Diablo 3 video. Enjoying all the videos and content we produce, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, click on that like button, and don't be afraid to share. Don't forget to click on the notification button, customize it however you want, but that way you're notified whenever we publish another video. Welcome everyone to another Season 25 video. Now before I jump into it, I just want to say we do have a poll going, so make sure to go check it out. We are currently farming 5,000 bounty mats, and we are going to be doing a video where we're going to be spending those bounty mats trying to get a full primal set. So we have a few sets listed in our poll, so check it out, vote for which one you want to see us try to make, and then following that we will be doing a build video for that build. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So this one's going to be a little bit different. Going to be taking a look at all of the 150s that have been done by all the various classes, and we're going to be breaking it down to identify how much character sheet damage you need, what Paragon level you need to reach in order to be able to pull off a 150 for that class, what spec or build was used during that run, and an estimate as to a time requirement, whether you're playing solo or in group, in order to achieve that result, in order to pull off to get to the 150 and time it. So before really jumping into it, to break down how we were doing the calculation for the time, basically did a big mathematical calculation that said we were running some speed run 20s, so we did about 300 120s, then we were doing 130s, 100 130s, 100 135s, 100 140s, 50 150s, etc., to kind of get an average riff level as well as an average time. And the end result was basically, so just in this example here, so for the 4,000, this was for the Barbarian, but basically the math said that on average we were running a greater rift about 130, and the average completion time was about 6 minutes. And then for our time comparison, we were just using between 1 player and 4 to see what the difference would be. And of course, this doesn't factor in whether we were using full pools or not in order to maximize our level gains, because obviously if you're using pools it's going to be much quicker. So we just went with the base. If you're not doing pools, if you're not running 100% efficient, so we have a 60% downtime in town. So just kind of like a maximum amount of time required in order to pull off getting the Paragon that you need. Obviously these numbers are going to be a little bit high, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's jump into it. Let's break these down and see what we need in order to get 150s on all the different classes. I'm excited to see what this looks like. Let's go. So for the Barbarian, took a look at the leaderboard, and the lowest Paragon that has pulled off a 150, completed it, timed it, was 4,000 Paragon for the Barb. The character sheet damage required was 4.2 million. So this is the character sheet when you go and look at your profile. So just for an example here, I will go back and cancel this so I can get back. And I'll go and I look at my profile. So here my witch doctor has 3.5 million character sheet. This is different than what you would see in when you're actually logged in. If you're to log in, enter the game and go to your character sheet, that is going to be much different than what would you would see when you inspect somebody on the leaderboard. So that's what we're using. We're using the profile damage and not the character sheet in game. So we would need 4.2 million character sheet damage from the profile for the Barbarian, 4,000 Paragon. The set that was used was Wrath of the Waste, so that is the Whirlwind Barb. We would be augmented 12 of 13, and the average augment, just going with the base augment of the 125 that everybody is utilizing from the soul shards. Obviously you can get up to the 150, but most people will have the 125s. Solo time, based on the math that we had, running the average greater rift of a 131, 6 minutes, would be 385 hours. And for group time play, would be 343 hours. Obviously, it'll be less finding pools and running higher if you run more higher rifts than lower. But anyways, that's the base number. That's what we're looking at from a time commitment in order to hit the GR 150 for the Barbarian. For the Crusader, so this was using the Armor of a Con build. So this is the bombardment build, and the character sheet damage was 1.3 million with Paragon leveled 1950. So a lot different here than what we saw with the Barbarian. The augments was about 10 of 13. So in order to hit 1950, not a ton of commitment. Obviously the solo time and group time, very little here in comparison to the Barb, because again, Paragon scales quite dramatically as you get higher and higher, where it takes a lot more effort and time to get the Paragon points. So 1950 solo time, 45 hours group play, 40 hours. Can really bang out and get to that quickly, especially this season with these soul shards being so powerful. Wouldn't even be surprised if it takes less time than that. But I thought that was quite interesting to see where the difference of the 4,000 Paragon for the Barb, and here we're not even at 2,000 for the Crusader. If for the other sets though, because we have seen some clears using the Valor set, that was a lot closer to 3,500 Paragon, which would be about closer to the 250 to about 300 hour mark for farming that much Paragon in order to use that set. For the Demon Hunter, so it was using the embodiment of the Marauder. The character sheet damage was 4.4 million and the Paragon was 2,300. So this was the lowest one. The average was actually quite a bit higher, but it means it is possible at 2,300. They were augmented 12 of 13, and the time required here was just under 3 days playtime. So 71 hours for solo and 63 hours for group. Now, keep in mind that this the Demon Hunter is part of the meta, so you would easily be able to probably do this faster if you got into a high push group that were farming at a quicker rate than the 131s, then you'd be able to do this in less than the 63 hours time there. Plus, keep in mind, this again is without getting pools, so of course it'll be slightly quicker than that. But again, easy time commitment here throughout the season, just 70 hours or so, and you should be able to pull it off. Even if you need to farm a bit more Paragon than the 2,300, through the course of a season, we'll probably easily get more over 100 hours of gameplay or so. So a lot easier than some of the other builds that have a high time requirement. Now taking a look at the Monk. So this is the OP class of Season 25. So requirement jumps out right away. Only 1,500 Paragon, 1.5 million character sheet damage. And of course, this is using the In His Mantra set, where you just absolutely obliterate everything, pull it off with just 11 of 13 augments. I myself completed my 150, I think it was about 1,700 Paragon, so not as efficient as this gentleman, but I know that it was possible. So solo time, 20 hours, group time about 18. So really, in your first day of playing, if you're going at it pretty hard, you could easily get your 150. The most challenging thing about this, because the playtime is so small, is getting your gems up. You're just focused solely on leveling your primary gems, get them up as high as you can, and that 150 can be yours very, very quickly. For our Necromancer, so this one's a little bit more of a time commitment. So here we are, we have a Paragon 3,500, and it was utilizing the Legacy of Dreams with the Corpse Explosion. Character sheet was 1.8 million damage because it's and now augments was 13 of 13 because it's Legacy of Dreams. You really want everything to be ancient. Makes sense then to augment them. So from a time perspective, solo time about 250 hours and group time was 225. And you'd be able to pull this off. So this one was a little bit one of the more time consuming ones, not as bad as the Barb, so it was a little bit more. And of course, not as quick as the Demon Hunter and Monk and Crusader. For the Witch Doctor, so again, a pretty speedy one, needing 2,500 Paragon. So this was using the Spirit of Iracher set, and the character sheet damage here was 3.5 million, and augments here was 10 of 13. The solo time was 90 hours, the group time 80 hours. So this was a little bit quicker than the majority. The majority were closer to about 3,000, which would put you at about 110, maybe 115 hours. Basically, makes it possible, but for every 100 Paragon that you get, you're probably adding like 80 character sheets. So this one would become a lot easier with an extra 500 Paragon, which would give you another 400,000 damage. So it'd be closer to about 4 mil character sheet. But again, it was possible at 2,500, which was pretty exciting, which means I should be able to do it. So that's what I'm going to be working on next, trying to get that on my Witch Doctor. Lastly here, the Wizards. This was the longest time commitment for a character. So 4,700 Paragon using the Legacy of Dreams character sheet, 6 million damage. This person was only 12 of 13 augments. Again, using Legacy of Dreams, you really want to try to have all ancients. From a time perspective, it was long. 640 hours solo, 570 group. This kind of just goes to show like how, I guess, painful or unfair it is for Wizards, the fact that you need this much time in order to get the 150s when a lot of the other classes don't need that much time. So really unfortunate for Wizard players. But it is what it is. I guess they had their time a couple seasons ago where the Firebird was ridiculously crazy. But again, just to point this out, 4,700 Paragon, huge time commitment, 640 hours solo, 570 group. So you have to be really committed if you want to get this on the Wizard. So that brings me to the end of the video and the information that I wanted to share. So if you're looking, if you're just coming into the season or you've been in it for a while and you're thinking of what characters you want to try to get the 150s on, now you know what it's going to take and what you have. And if you already have your Paragon that's higher than what some of the classes have already done it as, then you know that you'll be able to get that with the proper amount of gear and augments. So that being said, if you're just coming into the season and you want to get a 150 and you haven't ever got a 150 before, I highly recommend that you go with one of the quicker classes. So the Monk is really simple to get the 150 with. If you can't get it at the 1500 Paragon, which it is achievable at, just farm a bit more, 2K, 2500, and you'll be able to get it very, very easily. After that, of course, was the Crusader and then the Demon Hunter and the Witch Doctor, but the Monk is the easiest one of all. So if you don't have that 150 yet, go for it. Go get it. This is the season to do it. So this concludes the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below. I'll be happy to answer any of those. And also, last thing, don't forget to check out the poll again. Check it out. Throw in your vote. That video is coming soon. And as always, I hope you're enjoying season 25, and we'll see you in the next one.